I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment offered by Mr. Roskam of Illinois, page 9, line 15, after the dollar amount insert increased by $10 million. Page 10, line 7, after the dollar amount insert reduced by $10 million.
Pursuant to House Resolution 661, the gentleman from Illinois, the member opposed, each will control 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr.
Illinois is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield myself such time as I may consume. Mr. Chairman, we've had a great deal of discussion today on the floor about the activity of the IRS, and these stories have been known to us. We've had a great deal of testimony, hours and hours and hours of testimony in the Ways and Means Committee, overseen by Chairman Camp. And what we know is this, that the IRS has grossly overstepped its bounds in asking questions of groups filing for tax-exempt status that go as far as to ask about the content of an organization's prayers. Now think about this, Mr. Chairman. The First Amendment to the Constitution has as its first freedom our freedom of religion in this country. And what have we seen? We've seen the Internal Revenue Service reach its long arm into different tax-exempt organizations and have made inquiries about what is happening as it relates to prayers. Now here's an example, Mr. Chairman, that I have. This is a document, official document from the Internal Revenue Service, Department of the Treasury, et cetera, to the Coalition for Life of Iowa. And under penalties of perjury, on page 2, Mr. Chairman, of this official document from the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS asks this in writing: please explain in details the activities at these prayer meetings. Also, provide the percentage of your time with organization spends on prayer groups as compared with other activities of the organization. Mr. Chairman, are you kidding me? The Internal Revenue Service is using its power and its influence to try and intimidate organizations that have as their base the faith that they freely wish to extend and they wish to communicate. Some lists were lists of questions that the IRS was so onerous that they asked for list after list after list. Here's another one. They went after a group and they said, well, tell us all about whether each person, board member, officer, key employee, or member of their family has, was, or plans to be a candidate for public office. Now, of all the ridiculous inquiries, so you know what that tells me? It tells me, Mr. Chairman, the Enforcement Division of the IRS much money. That's what it tells me. And what I'm trying to do with this amendment is to follow up on action that the House has already took, and a House that took this action unanimously not long ago in February by passing a bill that I introduced, Protecting Taxpayers from Intrusive IRS Requests Act, that's now pending in the other body. I am very simply trying to get the attention of the Internal Revenue Service, the attention of the employees, the attention of the Commissioner. That is all to say that you don't have this kind of authority. And if you've got this kind of money to spend messing around with American groups and so forth, and as the Internal Revenue Service is now declaring itself to be the entity that decides who gets to participate in the public square and who doesn't get to participate in the public square, then they clearly have too much money. So very simply, Mr. Chairman, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take money out of that enforcement fund, which includes the exempt services, which has been all up to their eyeballs in this whole mess, and direct it over to an area that can actually defend taxpayers. I urge its consideration, and I will yield to the gentleman from Florida.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I'm pleased to support his amendment.